Did you notice that a certain Prince Harry flew from LA all the way to Shanghai to apparently promote greener travel?
In a hot air balloon,
it?
or did he fly in an aeroplane?
I think it was a jet, don't you, Tom?
Right.
Straight away on what Prince Harry did.
Of course.
Let's do that as a start, and let's direct it directly to Prince Harry. Harry, stop being such a hypocrite.
The majority of China is powered by coal, but they're going all in on nuclear, they're going all in on hydro, they're going all in on solar, they're going all in on gas. I mean, everything. They're just doing everything.
Yeah, which is fantastic, but you have sort of politicians going off there on all expenses paid trips.
I know. Hey, everybody. Right there, we have the author of the new bestseller, Spare. I'm here with Prince Harry. Prince Harry. Harry. I believe you said I could call you Harry.
Yes, I actually said you can call me whatever you want.
Okay, well, obviously, because we're such dear friends. Now,
which is going to take 1,000 trees to offset over the course of an entire 12 months. Absolutely
well, he could
ridiculous.
fit those trees in his California mansion. We've all seen the garden.
Absolutely. The whole thing, absolutely ridiculous.
We had a wonderful interview the other night that everyone acclaimed as groundbreaking. But the thing is that even after reading 400 pages of your book, there's only so much you can fit into 400 pages, and I feel like I don't know you as well as I'd like to. My team up there in the Late Show labs have come up with 15.
You have a lab here?
Oh. And a toasty means grilled? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
In a toasty machine, though.
In a toasty machine?
Yeah.
Like a press, like a panini press, that sort of thing?
That's the one, yeah.
That sounds good.
I have to be so careful with these questions because the Americanisms to the Britishisms, it's very different.
Right,
Got me and my wife into a lot of trouble at the beginning of our relationship. It's riding or horseback riding, where else are you going to ride the horse?
Horse belly. Cling on to it like that. One more time, I'm sorry. One more time. With that? Okay.
That instantly becomes a meme.
Second question. What's one thing that you own that you should really throw out? That my team has come up with 15 questions that are scientifically calculated to plumb the depths of anyone, to reveal their soul to the world, as good as your book is, and it is. This is really going to open you up to the world. Are you prepared to be known by the world after you answer what history will call the Colbert Questionnaire?
No, but let's do it. Rugby team in 2003 in the Tulsa Stadium at the World Cup final.
Did you get it?
After a few drinks, wearing an England rugby top, I was walking around going, Johnny, Mike, Lawrence, come on, sign my shirt. And they were all there, standing there naked with their willies hanging out. But I got all 15 signatures. I was very happy with that.
They signed it with pens, yes?
South Park just dropped a cartoon bombshell, and Prince Harry's public image might never recover. In their latest episode titled Jet Race for Spotlight, the famously savage show zeroed in on Harry's recent appearance at the Envision 2025 summit in Shanghai, and let's just say, they didn't hold back. The animated Harry is seen stepping off a roaring private jet, waving to cameras and delivering empty climate slogans like, "Let's go green for the future of something," while his wife hands him a clipboard labeled Weekly Fame Goals. Ouch. But here's the kicker. It wasn't all that exaggerated. The satire worked because it was shockingly close to reality. In real life, Prince Harry actually flew to China on a private jet to speak about, wait for it, sustainable travel. And that's where the internet lost it. Twitter lit up with hashtags like Admire Fame Chaser Harry and Damar South Park Savage. TikTok was flooded with reaction videos. And even some of Harry's longtime supporters had to admit, this one was hard to defend.
Did you notice that a certain Prince Harry flew from LA all the way to Shanghai to apparently promote greener travel?
In a hot air balloon,
it?
or did he fly in an aeroplane?
I think it was a jet, don't you, Tom?
Right, okay, well...
Let's be real. This isn't the first time Prince Harry has faced criticism over preaching environmental values while living a very privileged lifestyle. But South Park's roast wasn't just funny. It forced everyone to look at the contradiction head-on. Now, the backlash is snowballing. Critics are calling the trip a tone-deaf PR move. Media outlets are dissecting every second of the episode, and inside sources claim Harry was incandescent with frustration after seeing it. So what actually happened in Shanghai? Why did this summit trigger such a viral reaction? And is this the moment Prince Harry's credibility as a climate advocate finally unravels? Let's break it all down. Prince Harry's trip to the Envision 2025 summit in Shanghai was supposed to be a big deal. On paper, it had everything: an international stage, a noble cause, and a high-profile royal ready to speak on saving the planet. But within hours of his private jet landing, the entire narrative had flipped, and not in his favor. The summit itself was centered on global sustainability and reducing carbon emissions, especially in the travel and tourism sector. It was meant to be a platform where world leaders, environmental activists, and innovators could share ideas about eco-friendly solutions, and Harry was invited as a headline speaker.
Challenges will undoubtedly rise. But if there's one thing that I've learned in my life, it's that meaningful change never comes easily.
Touted as someone who's been vocal about climate change and responsible tourism for years. But the second he arrived, flying private of course, critics didn't waste a second. Headlines slammed the hypocrisy. Social media users posted side-by-side screenshots. On one side, Harry preaching about cutting carbon footprints. On the other, photos of his luxury jet touching down in Shanghai. Even outlets like The Times and The Guardian, usually more restrained, couldn't ignore the contradiction. And that's exactly what South Park latched onto. The episode didn't have to stretch reality. Cartoon Harry landed the same way. Loud jet, flashing cameras, big smile, and no trace of self-awareness. Instead of diving into real climate solutions, the animated version tossed out vague terms like eco-leadership and resilience, while everyone around him clapped mindlessly. What was meant to be a message of progress instantly became a meme. And the summit itself? It was overshadowed. Nobody was talking about the policy ideas. Everyone was talking about the cartoon. Even environmentalists weighed in, with some questioning whether celebrity appearances were doing more harm than good. Was Harry there to spark real change, or just stay relevant? The backlash didn't stop when the summit ended. If anything, it got worse. But the real turning point came when insiders leaked Harry's alleged reaction to the South Park roast. And what came next? That's when things truly started to spiral. The moment the South Park episode titled Jet Race for Spotlight aired, it was like lighting a match in a room full of jet fuel. People expected jokes, but what they got was a full-on roast that left no doubt. The writers weren't just poking fun.
Right, now the Times is quite usefully. Now, it's not known what flight Harry did take to China, and Travelist, the company that he's involved with, has declined to share their estimates.
They were pulling punches straight to the royal ego. In the episode, the animated Prince Harry bursts onto the scene in a roaring jet, decked out in eco-swag and grinning like a spokesperson for planet-saving merchandise. But the second he opens his mouth, the absurdity hits hard. Lines like, "Let's go green for the future of something," and "Climate starts with clapping," mocked his real-life tendency to say a lot without saying much. One of the most brutal bits? Cartoon Meghan quietly handing Harry a laminated sheet titled Weekly Fame Goals. Just a few seconds of screen time, but the message was brutal. It wasn't just about hypocrisy anymore, it was about intention. Was this couple really trying to create change, or just stay in the headlines? The satire didn't need to fabricate drama. It simply pulled from real headlines. Harry's environmental speeches, his private travel habits, and his polished but vague public appearances. It stitched together everything people had already been whispering, and said it out loud in the most savage way possible. And viewers ate it up. Social media exploded. Hashtags like "Auk Fame Chaser Harry," "Auk South Park Savage," and "Jet Race Hypocrisy."
With this newspaper anyway. But on average, a passenger travelling first class on a return flight from LA to Shanghai produces the equivalent of 6,311.32 kilos.
Started trending globally. TikTokers were stitching clips of the cartoon with real-life footage of Harry's summit speech. Even late-night talk shows jumped in, running their own montages of Harry's environmental sound bites paired with satellite images of his flight paths. What made it sting wasn't that it was inaccurate, it's that it was too accurate. South Park held up a mirror, and it reflected something many had felt for years, that behind the polished activism was a celebrity more concerned with image than impact. But the fallout wasn't limited to memes and mockery. According to insiders, Prince Harry's reaction to the episode wasn't just disappointment, it was rage. And that reaction may have revealed more than the cartoon ever could. Satire only works when it hits close to home, and that's exactly why the South Park episode hit like a thunderclap. Because behind the animated jokes was a growing stack of receipts that even the most loyal fans are having a hard time defending. Let's talk numbers. According to multiple reports, Prince Harry has taken over 20 private jet flights in a single year. That's not speculation. It's been covered by mainstream outlets, documented through flight trackers, and discussed across environmental circles. While there's no doubt that royals travel for security and logistics.
Also, I wonder whether he's a bit of a useful idiot as well, going off to China to sort of, I don't know, he's lending his support, isn't he, really, for the way that they're doing things, presumably.
And
at least it looks like that.
I just wish we were doing what China is doing.
It's the gap between the message and the method that's raising eyebrows. At the very same summit where he called for climate resilience and bold action, Harry's carbon footprint from that one trip alone was estimated to be dozens of times higher than the average person's monthly output. That contradiction was simply too big to ignore. And then there's Travelist, Harry's much-hyped ecotourism platform, launched in 2019. It was marketed as a game changer, a way to promote sustainable travel, rate companies based on eco-performance, and encourage smarter tourism. But nearly 5 years later, critics say it's all sizzle, no steak. The website looks great, the buzzwords are strong, but when you look at the actual outcomes, there's little to show. No groundbreaking industry partnerships, no major travel companies overhauling their models, no global sustainability initiatives powered by the platform. It's been called everything from a glorified awareness campaign to greenwashing and royal packaging. Even Harry's speeches, while passionate, often fall into the same trap. Big on inspiration, light on execution. There are rarely clear steps, measurable goals, or accountability metrics. Just a lot of noble-sounding language that's hard to pin down. And that's where the satire landed its hardest punch. It didn't invent this contradiction. It just animated it in a way that made the problem impossible to ignore. The environmental space is full of passionate voices doing real work.
When it comes to energy.
A bit of everything.
They have just this all. They are producing more solar power. By 2030, they will be producing more solar power.
And when a high-profile figure steps in with influence, expectations rise. But what happens when those expectations are met with empty optics? That's where things start to crack, and for Harry, they're already splitting wide open. If the South Park episode burned Prince Harry's public image, his private response poured gasoline on the fire. According to multiple insider reports circulating across entertainment outlets and YouTube commentary channels, Prince Harry was incandescent with frustration after watching the cartoon. Sources close to the Sussex Circle claim the portrayal left him stunned, angry, and feeling personally attacked. Not just mocked as a public figure, but humiliated as a man trying to be taken seriously in global conversations. And honestly, that reaction might have made things worse, because up until then, some viewers were still willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he didn't control the logistics, maybe his message still mattered. But once reports of this behind-the-scenes meltdown leaked, the conversation shifted from, is the criticism fair, to, why does it hit so hard? Commentators quickly picked up on it. YouTubers called it a classic case of image damage control, while others suggested Harry's frustration didn't stem from satire, but from how accurate the satire felt.
Some people, they take their problems with them, and I think that's where Harry is right now. And Harry has not built as much in America as Meghan has.
And also when he gave that interview, sorry to bang on that, but to the BBC, he looked really.
After all, South Park didn't mock his family or dig into personal gossip. They mocked his brand contradictions, his overuse of buzzwords, and his uncanny ability to show up to eco-events in gas-guzzling jets. And instead of brushing it off with a sense of humor or ignoring it altogether, the emotional reaction seemed to validate the very thing he was being accused of, caring more about optics than impact. Some royal insiders even hinted that the palace, still silent, was quietly watching this unravel with a sense of grim satisfaction. After years of Harry and Meghan calling out the monarchy in interviews, documentaries, and memoirs, this moment felt like poetic justice to royal traditionalists. Not because they agreed with the cartoon, but because for once the backlash wasn't coming from the press or tabloids. It was coming from culture itself. Harry may have expected criticism, but what he got was a global meme storm, fueled by satire, receipts, and the kind of online energy that doesn't die down easily. And this wasn't the only subtle win for the firm. While Prince Harry found himself at the center of a viral media storm, the other side of the royal fence, the palace, was dead silent. No public comment, no official statement, not even a subtle eye roll through the press. But make no mistake, the silence was strategic. According to several royal insiders, the mood inside Buckingham Palace wasn't outrage, it was vindication. For years, Harry and Meghan have publicly challenged the monarchy. From explosive interviews and behind-the-scenes documentaries to Harry's tell-all memoir Spare, the Sussexes have consistently painted the royal institution as outdated, cold, and image-obsessed. And yet, in this moment of backlash,
Of like, why has he done this with the BBC interview? And I couldn't get away from the fact that Meghan didn't do this and doesn't do this kind of stuff because Meghan has built this whole thing in America with her lifestyle brand and her new Netflix show.
it was Harry who looked like the one trapped in a PR game gone wrong. That irony didn't go unnoticed. While Harry was trending for all the wrong reasons, King Charles quietly continued with official duties in Canada. The contrast couldn't be starker. On one side, a monarch honoring service, attending events, and staying out of drama. On the other, his son being roasted in a cartoon and reportedly fuming over it. Even royal commentators, usually careful with their wording, hinted at the shift. They pointed out how South Park's episode did what the monarchy never could, highlight Harry's contradictions without ever lifting a royal finger. No press leaks, no damage control teams, just quiet observation as the internet did the rest. To the public, the message was clear. The institution didn't need to retaliate. Culture did it for them. And in a world that runs on perception, that's a rare win. Because here's the truth. Whether you support the Sussexes or not, the royal family has always played the long game. They don't chase headlines, they outlast them. And by not commenting, by letting Harry face the fallout alone, they position themselves as above the chaos. A subtle move, a powerful message, and a reminder that in the royal world, silence is not weakness, it's control. But the South Park episode didn't just take aim at Harry. Meghan got her moment too, and it was short, sharp, and brutally revealing. It was barely a few seconds, but it said everything. In Jet Race for Spotlight, while cartoon Prince Harry babbles about the environment, Meghan silently slides him a checklist titled Weekly Fame Goals. No lines, no speeches, just a blink and you miss it jab that landed like a sledgehammer. That single visual hit a nerve, because it didn't just target Meghan, it captured a growing public perception.
And her podcast, and because she's built this new thing, she doesn't want to wreck it and she doesn't want to ruin it, so she's got something she's fighting for. Harry's not built anything out in America.
That the couple's advocacy might be less about passion and more about PR. The satire echoed what critics have been whispering for years, that every public move, from heartfelt interviews to podcast episodes, feels carefully staged to keep their narrative alive. That even the causes they support often double as content for their personal brand. Whether it's social justice, mental health, or environmental reform, the critique isn't that the topics are unworthy. It's that they often feel strategically timed, beautifully packaged, and just vague enough to dodge accountability. And it's not the first time South Park has gone there. Back in 2023, the show roasted the couple in another viral episode dubbed the Worldwide Privacy Tour, portraying them as fame chasers who beg for privacy while waving signs that scream, "Look at us." The couple never responded publicly, likely fearing it would make things worse. But the sting clearly stuck. Now, with this latest cameo, the message from South Park is louder than ever. The spotlight isn't just something they're caught in, it's something they chase, and audiences are starting to notice. Even supporters who once defended Meghan's every move have begun to ask hard questions. Why do so many of their public statements sound more like brand pitches than real-life action? Why does every campaign seem to tie into a streaming deal, a book launch, or a new media rollout? The Meghan moment in the episode was small, but intentional. It wasn't a takedown, it was a mirror. And when paired with Harry's contradictions, it painted a fuller picture. A couple trying to lead meaningful conversations while getting lost in the performance of it all. And if that perception sticks, no PR team in the world can walk it back.
I know. Hey, everybody. Right there, we have the author of the new bestseller, Spare. I'm here with Prince Harry. Prince Harry. Harry. I believe you said I could call you Harry.
I actually said you can call me whatever you want.
Okay, well, obviously, because we're such dear friends. Now.
But the public didn't just laugh, they started keeping score. For a while, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle had the world listening. Their interviews went viral, their Netflix series hit trending charts, their memoirs flew off the shelves. But now, there's a different kind of buzz, and it's not flattering. Call it Sussex fatigue. Across social media, the tone has shifted. What once was curiosity has turned into eye rolls. Each new headline is met with a growing sense of, again? And after the South Park episode, that shift became crystal clear. People weren't just laughing at the cartoon, they were nodding in agreement. The metrics don't lie. On TikTok, short clips comparing Harry's climate speeches to his jet-setting lifestyle racked up millions of views within hours. Memes flooded Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. But here's the part that really matters. Even mainstream outlets like Newsweek and Forbes started reporting on the backlash, not as a fringe reaction, but as a cultural moment. Approval ratings tell a similar story. Recent polls show that Prince Harry's favorability in the US has dropped below 45%, with Meghan's even lower. And in the UK, their numbers have been steadily declining since the release of Spare. It's not about one cartoon, it's about a pattern the public is tired of. Because every time Harry tries to reintroduce himself as a climate advocate, a mental health spokesperson, a thought leader, it somehow circles back to contradiction. He says he wants privacy, then signs another media deal. He talks about reducing carbon footprints, then boards a jet.
We had the wonderful interview the other night that everyone acclaimed as groundbreaking. But the thing is that even after reading 400 pages of your book, there's only so much you can fit into 400 pages, and I feel like I don't know you as well as I'd like to. My team up there in the Late Show labs have come up with 15.
You have a lab here?
Oh.
He asks the public to trust his intentions, but keeps stepping on his own message. And that's what audiences are reacting to. It's not the causes. They're important. It's not the ambition. People respect it. It's the disconnect between the message and the lifestyle. The idea that it's all curated, all branded, all built to maintain relevance, but not necessarily results. So now, the headlines aren't just about Harry and Meghan, they're about the reception. And the most dangerous thing for any public figure isn't criticism, it's indifference. Because when people stop taking you seriously, they stop listening. And that's where we are. But can Harry still turn things around, or has the spotlight turned permanently cold? The Envision 2025 summit was supposed to be Harry's redemption arc, a clean slate to show the world he's more than headlines and hype. Instead, it handed his critics a megaphone and left his reputation wobbling. The South Park episode didn't break his image, it clarified it. And now, Harry faces a choice. Keep playing the PR game or get real. Real about measurable action. Real about accountability. Real about aligning his lifestyle with the values he speaks on so passionately. Because the next speech, the next summit, the next important cause won't matter if people aren't listening anymore. This wasn't just a cartoon roast, it was a cultural gut check. Prince Harry once had the public's heart. Now he's battling for their trust. Not with better speeches or branded websites, but with action that proves he's still the changemaker he claims to be. Until then, the spotlight won't shine. It'll scorch.